Men have called me mad, but the question is not yet settled, whether madness is or is not the loftiest intelligence. It is by no means an irrational fancy that, in a future existence, we shall look upon what we think our present existence as a dream. The death of a beautiful woman is, unquestionably, the most poetical topic in the world. And all I loved alone. There is no exquisite beauty without some strangeness in the proportion. Melancholy is thus the most legitimate of all the poetical tones. It is with literature as with law or empire. An established name is an estate in tenure or a throne in possession. Beauty of whatever kind, in its supreme development, invariably excites the sensitive soul to tears. Words have no power to impress the mind without the exquisite horror of their reality. Never to suffer would never to have been blessed. The boundaries which divide life from death are at best shadowy and vague. Who shall say where the one ends and where the other begins? Deep in earth my love is lying, and I must weep alone. Those who dream by day are cognizant of many things which escape those who dream only by night. Undue brevity degenerates into mere epigrammatism. Beauty is the sole legitimate province of the poem. I am actuated by an ambition which I believe to be an honorable one, the ambition of serving the great cause of truth while endeavoring to forward the literature of the country. Literature is the most noble of professions. In fact, it is about the only one fit for a man. For my own part, there is no seducing me from the path. Thank heaven, the crisis, the danger is past, and the lingering illness is over at last, and the fever called living is conquered at last. In reading some books, we occupy ourselves chiefly with the thoughts of the author. In perusing others, exclusively with our own. To die laughing must be the most glorious of all glorious deaths. A very short poem, while now and then producing a brilliant or vivid, never produces a profound or enduring effect. How many good books suffer neglect through the inefficiency of their beginnings? Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortals ever dared to dream before. From childhood's hour, I have not been as others were. I have not seen as others saw. I could not bring my passions from a common spring. Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. For passionate love is still divine. I loved her as an angel might, with ray of the all-living light, which blazes upon Edda's shrine. Thou wast that all to me, love, for which my soul did pine. Ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such name as Nevermore. Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, yet if hope has flown away in a night, or in a day, in a vision, or in none, is it therefore the less gone? O human love, thou spirit given on earth of all we hope in heaven. And so being young and dipped in folly, I fell in love with melancholy. A green isle in the sea, love, a fountain and a shrine, all wreathed with fairy fruits and flowers, and all the flowers were mine. What a flood of new feelings gushed upon my soul as I laid down the billet and lifted my filial eyes to heaven. Mother, endearing name. My sorrow, I could not awaken my heart to joy at the same tone. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Fill with mingled cream and amber. I will drain that glass again. Such hilarious visions clamber through the chamber of my brain. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. Even with the utterly lost, to whom life and death are equally jests, there are matters of which no jest can be made. It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. We loved with a love that was more than love, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. Art is to look at, not to criticize. Yet mad I am not, and very surely do I not dream. I was never really insane except upon occasions where my heart was touched. That which you mistake for madness is but an over-acuteness of the senses. Decorum, that bugbear which deters so many from bliss until the opportunity for bliss has forever gone by. Science has not yet taught us if madness is or is not the sublimity of the intelligence. Invisible things are the only realities. I intend to put up with nothing that I can put down. Even in the grave, all is not lost. I felt that I breathed an atmosphere of sorrow. The customs of the world are so many conventional follies. Every poem should remind the reader that they are going to die. You fancy me a mad. Madmen know nothing. The pleasure derived from the contemplation of the unity resulting from plot is far more intense than is ordinarily supposed. And darkness and decay and the Red Death held illimitable dominion over all. There are chords in the hearts of the most reckless which cannot be touched without emotion. I wish I could write as mysterious as a cat. To elevate the soul, poetry is necessary. There are some secrets which do not permit themselves to be told. That which you mistake for madness is but an over-acuteness of the senses. I remained too much inside my head and ended up losing my mind. With me, poetry has not been a purpose, but a passion. I dread the events of the future, not in themselves, but in their results. We loved with a love that was more than love. I was never really insane except upon occasions when my heart was touched. The most natural, and consequently, the truest and most intense of the human affections are those which arise in the heart as if by electric sympathy. Love like mine can never be gotten over. Either the memory of past bliss is the anguish of today, or the agonies which have their origin in the ecstasies which might have been. To observe attentively is to remember distinctly. Since that period I have never seen nor heard your name without a shiver, half of delight, half of anxiety. Years of love have been forgot in the hatred of a minute. If you wish to forget anything on the spot, make a note that this thing is to be remembered. Whether people grow fat by joking, or whether there is something in fat itself which predisposes to a joke, I have never been quite able to determine. Convinced myself, I seek not to convince. I became insane with long intervals of horrible sanity. The true genius shudders at incompleteness, imperfection, and usually prefers silence to saying the something which is not everything that should be said. Believe nothing you hear, and only one half that you see. In our endeavors to recall to memory something long forgotten, we often find ourselves upon the very verge of remembrance, without being able, in the end, to remember. All religion, my friend, is simply evolved out of fraud, fear, greed, imagination, and poetry. I have great faith in fools. Self-confidence, my friends, will call it. That man is not truly brave who is afraid either to seem or to be, when it suits him, a coward. Because I feel that in the heavens above, the angels whispering to one another can find, among their burning terms of love, none so devotional as that of mother.